There's something rare about a person who carries a soft heart in a world that teaches people to harden. There's something magnetic about someone who refuses to let life's pain turn them bitter, who continues to love, to care, and to give without apology. But here's the truth: having a soft heart doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're naive, and it definitely doesn't mean people can take advantage of you. A soft heart, when paired with a sharp mind, becomes unstoppable. And when you combine that with the ability to move in silence, without needing validation, applause, or attention, you become someone no one can predict, control, or defeat. Today, I want to share what it really means to live with a soft heart, a sharp mind, and silent moves. Because this is the formula for real strength, real peace, and real success. There is something so deeply misunderstood about having a soft heart. People think softness means fragility. They think it means you're easy to break, that you'll fold under pressure, that you'll allow the world to run over you. But in reality, having a soft heart in a world that constantly demands hardness is one of the greatest demonstrations of strength. It takes courage to feel when it would be easier to shut down. It takes strength to care when it would be safer to detach. It takes resilience to keep opening your heart when you've been hurt before. And yet, the person with a soft heart continues to do just that. They keep choosing love over bitterness, compassion over cruelty, empathy over indifference. Think about what it really means to carry a soft heart. It means you don't walk through life numb. You don't shut yourself away behind walls so high that no one can reach you. It means you're willing to risk pain in order to experience connection. You're willing to let yourself feel joy in the small things, even though you know joy can sometimes be fleeting. A soft heart looks at the world with wonder. It finds beauty in moments most people ignore. It listens to the stories behind the scars, and it chooses to care even when caring is inconvenient. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. Having a soft heart doesn't mean life spares you from pain. It means you feel the sting of it more deeply. When someone betrays you, you don't just brush it off. You feel the weight of that loss. When someone walks away, it doesn't just pass by you. It breaks something inside you. When life doesn't go your way, it cuts deeper because you're not detached from the outcome. You cared about it, you wanted it, you loved it. And for this reason, people sometimes think having a soft heart is a disadvantage. They say you care too much, you love too deeply, you trust too quickly. They'll tell you it's your downfall, but what they don't realize is that even though you feel pain more intensely, you also feel joy more vividly. You feel love more richly. You experience life in its fullness, not in a muted, guarded, half-hearted way. And that's not weakness, that's living. A soft heart doesn't just survive storms, it grows through them. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal. It doesn't harden you, it teaches you. A person with a soft heart doesn't allow pain to rob them of their humanity. They might bend, but they don't break. They might cry, but they don't quit. They might lose people, but they don't lose themselves. And that's what makes them powerful, because anyone can shut down after being hurt. Anyone can build walls and stop trusting. That's the easy path. But to remain open, to remain kind, to keep showing up with love despite what you've endured, that is extraordinary strength. And it's not about being naive. A soft heart is not blind. It sees the truth of people, it knows the risks, it knows the dangers, but it chooses to love anyway. It chooses to believe in goodness even when it's been disappointed. It chooses to forgive when resentment would be easier. That doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. A soft heart paired with wisdom knows when to walk away. It knows when to set boundaries. It knows when love must be given from a distance. But it never lets the behavior of others destroy its ability to love altogether. Imagine the people you admire most, the ones who left a mark on you. They weren't the cold, detached ones. They weren't the ones who never cared. They were the ones who made you feel seen. They were the ones who offered kindness when no one else would. They were the ones who chose empathy instead of judgment, compassion instead of indifference. That is the legacy of a soft heart. It touches lives. It plants seeds of love that may bloom in ways you'll never even see. Sometimes a single act of kindness changes someone's entire day, maybe even their entire life. And that comes from softness. But let's talk about the challenge, because having a soft heart will test you. There will be people who misunderstand you. There will be people who take your kindness for granted. There will be people who mistake your compassion for weakness and try to use it against you. That can leave scars. It can make you want to close yourself off. But here's what you must remember. Those moments don't define the value of your heart. They don't mean you should stop caring. They don't mean you should stop being who you are. They mean you must learn discernment. They mean you must love wisely, not less. They mean you must protect your heart without hardening it. Think of it this way. Your heart is soft, but it is not defenseless. It is strong precisely because it feels. It is powerful because it loves, but it is also guided by the lessons of experience. You don't give blindly. You give thoughtfully. You don't forgive without boundaries. You forgive while protecting yourself. You don't love without awareness. You love with both open eyes and open arms. That balance makes you unstoppable. And here's where people get it wrong. They think the opposite of a soft heart is a strong one. They think strength requires coldness, but the opposite of a soft heart is not a strong one. It's a closed one, and a closed heart might protect you from pain, but it also robs you of joy. It keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. A soft heart may take more hits, but it also takes more leaps. It experiences more, it loves more, it gives more, and because of that it lives more. The world may try to convince you to toughen up. It will say things like, "Don't care too much, you'll get hurt." It will say, "Don't love too deeply, people will take advantage." But ask yourself this: would you rather go through life numb, disconnected, afraid to feel? Or would you rather risk being hurt but know that you truly live? The pain of heartbreak fades, but the regret of never giving your heart, that lasts forever. So when you choose to remain soft, you are making a declaration that you will not let the world make you bitter. You will not let rejection steal your ability to love. You will not let cruelty dictate how you treat others. Your soft heart becomes your rebellion. It becomes your power. It becomes your secret weapon in a world that is starving for kindness. And don't think for a second that softness makes you less capable of achieving greatness. In fact, some of the most powerful leaders, creators, and visionaries throughout history had soft hearts. Their empathy fueled their vision. Their compassion drove their decisions. Their ability to care deeply is what made them unforgettable. A soft heart is not a barrier to success. It is the foundation of meaningful success. Because what good is achieving everything if you lose your ability to love along the way? What good is winning if you have to harden yourself to the point where nothing feels real anymore? When you walk into a room with a soft heart, you change the atmosphere. People feel safe around you. They feel understood. They feel like they can be themselves without judgment. That is a gift. And sometimes that gift is the very thing that creates opportunities, relationships, and connections you never thought possible. People will want to work with you, trust you, follow you. Not because you're the loudest or the toughest, but because your heart makes them feel something. Of course, there will be moments when you'll wish your heart wasn't so soft. When someone breaks your trust, you'll wish you didn't care so much. When you have to let go of someone you love, you'll wish you could just shut your feelings off. But in those moments, remind yourself that the depth of your pain is proof of the depth of your love. And isn't that worth something? Isn't that proof that you lived fully, that you didn't just exist? You experienced the richness of being human, because at the end of the day, it's not the people who guarded their hearts most carefully who lived the fullest lives. It's the ones who dared to open them. And yes, they might get bruised, yes, they might stumble, yes, they might cry at night when no one sees, but they also experience connection, passion, beauty, and joy in ways others never will, and that is worth every scar. So if you have a soft heart, don't apologize for it. Don't let anyone convince you it's a weakness. Don't let the world shame you into becoming colder than you are. Stand tall in your softness, own it. Protect it wisely, but never bury it, because the truth is, the world doesn't need more cold hearts. It needs more soft ones. The world doesn't need more people who only think of themselves. It needs people who care enough to think of others. The world doesn't need more bitterness. It needs more love. And you, with your soft heart, are the proof that this kind of love still exists. Your soft heart is your gift. It's your power. It's the part of you that no amount of pain can take away. And when you honor it, when you nurture it, when you let it shine without fear, you don't just change your own life, you change the lives of everyone who has the privilege of encountering you. A sharp mind is one of the greatest gifts you can cultivate, because in a world full of noise, distraction, manipulation, and half-truths, the ability to think clearly, discern wisely, and see beyond the surface is what separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive. Having a sharp mind doesn't mean being cold or unfeeling. It means being awake, alert, and deeply aware of yourself, of others, and of the situations you walk into. It's the balance to the soft heart, because without a sharp mind, a soft heart can be taken advantage of. Without a sharp mind, love can blind you, hope can deceive you, and kindness can be manipulated. But when you pair your soft heart with a sharp mind, you become someone who is impossible to control, impossible to fool, and impossible to underestimate. A sharp mind is not just intelligence, it's wisdom, and wisdom is earned. You don't get it from books alone. You don't get it from theories or from wishing life were easier. You get it from living, from failing, from being betrayed, from being wrong, from observing the patterns that life repeats until you finally start to notice them. A sharp mind sees the lesson where others see only the loss. It notices the detail that everyone else misses. It recognizes the energy in someone's actions that their words are trying to disguise. That's what makes it powerful. It doesn't take everything at face value. It digs deeper. The sharp mind is the voice inside you that pauses before reacting. It's the instinct that tells you to watch, to listen, to notice. It's the ability to delay judgment until you've seen enough. It's the strength to say, I won't just accept what you tell me. I'll watch what you show me. This isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness, and awareness is power, because when you are aware, you stop being a passive participant in your life, and you start being an active creator of it. Most people move through life on autopilot. They don't question the people they let close to them. They don't think about the environments they allow themselves to be in. They don't challenge the stories they've been told about who they are, what they're worth, and what's possible for them. But a sharp mind questions everything, not in a negative way, but in a way that keeps it awake. It asks, is this true? Does this serve me? Does this align with the life I'm building? And when the answer is no, a sharp mind doesn't ignore it. It acts. Think about relationships. A soft heart will allow you to love, to give, to connect. But without a sharp mind, you risk giving endlessly to someone who has no intention of giving back. You risk excusing behavior that disrespects you because your heart wants to believe in their potential. You risk confusing chemistry with compatibility and attraction with alignment. But when your heart loves and your mind is sharp, you can see both the beauty in someone and the truth about them. You can love them deeply, but still recognize when they are not showing up for you in the way you deserve. You can forgive them, but still set boundaries. You can understand their pain, but still refuse to let their pain become your prison. That is the gift of a sharp mind. It protects the heart from being wasted. In life, opportunities will come. Some will be real, others will be illusions. Some will look good on the surface, but beneath the shine, they'll cost you more than they're worth. A sharp mind doesn't just chase what looks appealing. It analyzes, it asks the hard questions, it sees beyond the surface, it weighs the long-term consequences, not just the short-term pleasures, and because of that, it makes choices that build real success instead of temporary satisfaction. That's why some people leap at every shiny thing and end up lost, while others wait, think, and build something lasting. Having a sharp mind also means you can separate emotion from decision. It doesn't mean you ignore emotion. You still feel it, you still honor it, but you don't let it control you. How many times have people let anger push them into saying something they regret, or fear hold them back from an opportunity, or love convinced them to stay in something that was destroying them? A sharp mind steps in and says, I acknowledge what I feel, but I will not let this feeling be the driver of my future. That's power. A sharp mind also knows timing. It knows when to speak and when to stay silent. It knows when to act and when to wait. It knows when to push and when to let go. Most people get caught up in impulse. They want everything now, they want answers now, they want results now. But a sharp mind understands patience. It understands that sometimes silence is the loudest response, that sometimes waiting is the strongest move, that sometimes retreating is the strategy that sets up your greatest comeback. What people don't realize is that a sharp mind is also about self-awareness. It's not just about understanding the world, it's about understanding yourself. Knowing your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns. A sharp mind can stop itself from repeating cycles. It says, I've been here before, I know how this story ends, and this time I'm not falling for it again. That is wisdom in action, that is growth, that is transformation, and maybe the most powerful thing about a sharp mind is that it gives you control over your life. Not control over everything that happens. You can't control the storms, but you can control your choices within the storm. You can choose how you respond, what you focus on, what you carry forward, and what you leave behind. And that makes all the difference, because in the end, life isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond, and a sharp mind ensures that your response builds you instead of breaking you. There will be people who underestimate you because you have a soft heart. They'll think they can manipulate you. They'll think you're easy to fool. But that's when the sharp mind reveals itself. That's when you show that while you are kind, you are not blind. While you are forgiving, you are not foolish. While you are open, you are not without boundaries. And nothing unsettles people more than realizing the person they thought they could take advantage of saw through them the whole time. And here's what makes the sharp mind beautiful when paired with the soft heart. It doesn't make you cynical. It doesn't make you cold. It allows you to continue being loving, but with wisdom. It allows you to continue being open, but with protection. It allows you to continue being hopeful, but with discernment. You don't stop giving. You just give smarter. You don't stop loving. You just love with clarity. You don't stop caring. You just care without losing yourself in the process. When you train your mind to be sharp, you stop needing constant validation. You stop needing people to understand your choices. You stop living for approval because you know what you know. You see what you see. You trust your instincts, your observations, your lessons. That quiet confidence makes you unstoppable because no one can take it from you. It's not dependent on applause, on recognition, or on permission. It's yours, so how do you sharpen your mind? You learn, you listen, you observe, you reflect, you pay attention to patterns, your own and others. You don't ignore red flags just because your heart wants to believe otherwise. You don't rush into decisions without considering their impact. You train yourself to pause, to think, to weigh. You allow your experiences to teach you instead of break you. And you never stop growing because a sharp mind is not something you have once. It's something you cultivate every day. At the end of the day, a sharp mind is freedom. Freedom from manipulation, freedom from cycles, freedom from living blind. It gives you clarity. It gives you perspective. It gives you the power to walk into any situation with your eyes wide open and the confidence that you can handle whatever comes. And when you combine that with a soft heart, you become the kind of person the world cannot control, because you love deeply, but you also see clearly. In a world that is constantly loud, where people broadcast every step they take, where validation is measured by likes and applause, moving in silence is one of the greatest strengths you can have. Silent moves are not about hiding because you're afraid. They're about building with intention, creating without distraction, and growing in ways that don't require the world's approval. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's not emptiness, it's focus. It's the understanding that the loudest work isn't always the most impactful, and the most meaningful victories are often the ones no one saw coming. When you learn to move in silence, you learn the art of patience. You stop rushing to prove yourself to people who don't matter. You stop needing constant reassurance that you're on the right path. You stop wasting energy trying to convince people of what you're capable of. Instead, you let your actions build quietly until they're undeniable. You let your consistency speak so loudly that no explanation is needed, and that is power. The kind of power that can't be taken away because it doesn't depend on anyone else's recognition. Think about the culture we live in. Everywhere you look, people are showing their plans, their moves, their progress. They post about every dream before it's even fully planted. They share every step before it's ready to stand. And then, when it doesn't work out, when it crumbles, they're left explaining themselves to people who were never really invested to begin with. Silent moves protect you from that. They shield you from the weight of other people's opinions. They allow you the freedom to build without commentary, to try without judgment, to fail without an audience. That's not hiding, it's protecting your peace. When you're moving in silence, people might underestimate you. They might think you're not doing much. They might think you've fallen off, disappeared, or stopped caring. But that's the beauty of it, because while they're busy underestimating, you're busy preparing. While they are watching someone else's noise, you're building something real. And when it finally comes to light, it doesn't need a speech, it speaks for itself. There's something magnetic about the person who doesn't announce their every step. They carry an aura of mystery, of depth, of discipline. You don't know what they're building, but you know it's something. You can feel it. Silent moves create an energy that people respect even if they don't understand it. Because while others are talking, you're working. While others are distracted, you're focused. While others are performing, you're producing. And in the long run, that always wins. But here's the part most people don't realize. Moving in silence also protects your dreams. Not everyone who claps for you wants you to win. Not everyone who listens to your plans has your best interest at heart. Sometimes sharing too much, too soon, exposes your dreams to negativity, jealousy, and doubt before they're strong enough to stand. Silent moves allow your dreams to grow roots before they grow branches. They allow you to strengthen yourself privately before you face the weight of public opinion. And that makes all the difference, because the strongest trees are the ones whose roots grew deep before anyone ever saw them. Moving in silence doesn't mean you don't celebrate yourself. It doesn't mean you hide forever. It means you understand timing. It means you know when to show and when to wait. It means you know that not every step requires an audience, and not every plan deserves a stage. The best artists don't reveal their work while it's half finished. They perfect it, refine it, and only then do they reveal it to the world, and the same is true for your life. When you move in silence, you give yourself the space to refine, to grow, to become who you're meant to be, without the noise of everyone else's expectations. People sometimes confuse silence with inaction. They'll say, "You're too quiet, you're not doing enough, you're falling behind." But what they don't realize is that silence is not stillness. Silence is momentum without broadcast. Silence is progress without announcement. Silence is discipline behind closed doors, and when you finally reveal what you've been working on, the results make all the doubts irrelevant. That's why silent moves are so powerful. They don't just prove people wrong, they make proving them wrong unnecessary. There is also peace in moving silently. When you're not constantly broadcasting your every move, you remove the pressure of performance. You no longer live for the reaction, you live for the result. And that peace allows you to enjoy the process instead of constantly worrying about how it looks to others. You can fail quietly, learn quietly, grow quietly, and when the time comes, rise loudly. That peace is priceless because it frees you from the cycle of validation that traps so many people. Think about how many people burn out because they're performing success instead of building it. They're more concerned with looking like they're making moves than actually making them. They exhaust themselves trying to keep up an image instead of quietly laying the bricks that would build something real. Moving in silence spares you from that trap. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused on the work instead of the image. And that's why it's the strategy of those who last. There's another layer to silent moves. It makes your victories sweeter. Because when you don't announce every step, the reveal becomes a shock. It becomes undeniable. The same people who doubted you, who underestimated you, who thought you weren't doing much, will be left stunned when they see what you've built. That's not about revenge. It's about the joy of knowing that you didn't need to prove yourself along the way. You trusted the process, you trusted your discipline, you trusted your silence, and now the results speak volumes. But let me tell you this, moving in silence isn't easy. We live in a world where we're conditioned to seek validation. We want to be seen, acknowledged, celebrated, and silence requires you to resist that. It requires you to believe in yourself so deeply that you don't need anyone else's approval along the way. It requires patience because silence means you might not get recognition immediately. It requires discipline because silence means you stay consistent even when no one is watching. But that difficulty is what makes it so powerful, because very few people can master it, and those who do stand out without ever needing to try. Silent moves also teach you humility. They remind you that it's not always about showing what you're doing. It's about actually doing it. It's not about the story you tell, it's about the life you build. When you move in silence, you're less concerned with proving and more concerned with becoming. You don't need to scream about your growth because you know it's real. You don't need to parade your progress because you know where you're headed. That humility grounds you, and grounded people go further than those who are inflated by noise. And perhaps the most powerful part of silent moves is that they allow you to listen. When you're not busy talking about what you're doing, you can hear what others are missing. You can observe, you can learn, you can study, you can notice the opportunities that everyone else overlooks because they're too distracted with their own noise. Silence sharpens your awareness, and awareness sharpens your power. In your life, there will be times when the urge to announce your plans feels overwhelming. You'll want to prove to people that you're not stagnant, that you're building, that you're chasing something meaningful. But remind yourself, what's louder, the announcement or the outcome? Do you want people to admire the promise or the proof? Do you want them to clap for the idea or the reality? When you move in silence, you ensure that what you reveal is undeniable. So, learn the art of silent moves. Learn to protect your dreams until they're strong enough to stand. Learn to value the process more than the performance. Learn to find peace in privacy, strength in patience, and power in discipline. Let your results speak. Let your work announce itself. Let your silence build something so real that when the world finally sees it, it needs no introduction. Because in the end, it's not the ones who shouted the loudest who changed the game. It's the ones who built quietly until the world had no choice but to listen. And that can be you. That can be your story. That can be your power: silent moves, quiet growth, loud results. When you put a soft heart, a sharp mind, and silent moves together, you create something extraordinary. Each one is powerful on its own, but the real transformation happens when they merge into one. A soft heart without a sharp mind is vulnerable. A sharp mind without a soft heart is cold. Silent moves without either of them are empty. But when all three align, you step into a level of strength, balance, and purpose that very few people ever reach. That's when you become unstoppable. Not because you're the loudest, not because you're the toughest, not because you're the smartest alone, but because you are whole. A soft heart gives you love. It keeps you human. It allows you to connect deeply with others, to see their pain, to care about their dreams, to bring warmth into a world that often feels cold. Without it, you might survive, but you wouldn't truly live. You might achieve things, but they would feel empty. A soft heart is what makes life worth experiencing. It's what lets you wake up and feel joy over small things, gratitude over little moments, connection over conversations that others might dismiss. But that same heart, if it isn't protected by wisdom, can get wounded. That's where the sharp mind comes in. A sharp mind steps in and says, yes, love deeply, but also see clearly, yes, care, but also discern, yes, give, but also guard yourself from being drained. It protects the heart without hardening it. It allows you to love while setting boundaries. It allows you to forgive while remembering the lesson. It allows you to remain compassionate without being naive. The sharp mind is the filter that keeps the soft heart safe while still allowing it to shine. It's the protector, the strategist, the discerner. It says, not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions. Not everyone you love is meant to stay. Not every opportunity that looks appealing is truly for you. And that wisdom keeps you from losing yourself while you're giving to others. Then comes the silent moves. This is where the balance finds its expression, because the soft heart wants to share, it wants to connect, it wants to be seen. The sharp mind wants to analyze, to strategize, to make wise choices. But the silent moves create the discipline to hold it all together. They stop you from giving your energy away to the wrong audience. They stop you from wasting time proving yourself to people who don't deserve proof. They stop you from exposing your dreams before they're ready to stand. Silent moves allow your soft heart and sharp mind to work together without distraction. They give your love and wisdom the space to build quietly until the results are undeniable. Imagine a person who only has one of these qualities. A soft heart without the others is beautiful, but vulnerable to being broken over and over. A sharp mind without softness is intelligent, but disconnected, often lonely because it lacks the warmth that draws people in. Silent moves without love or wisdom are empty. They may bring results, but they lack depth and fulfillment. But imagine a person who carries all three. They are kind, but not foolish. They are wise, but not cold. They are strategic, but not boastful. They are balanced in a way that very few people are, and that balance makes them magnetic. When you live with all three, you don't just love, you love wisely. You don't just think, you think with compassion. You don't just move, you move with purpose. People may not always understand you, but they'll always respect you, because you'll be someone who cannot be easily broken, manipulated, or underestimated. You'll have the warmth that makes people feel safe, the wisdom that makes people trust you, and the discipline that makes your results undeniable. Life will test each part of this. There will be moments when your heart wants to give to someone who doesn't deserve it, and that's when your mind must step in. There will be moments when your mind wants to overanalyze and close off, and that's when your heart must remind you to stay open. There will be moments when you want to announce your every plan, when you want the world to see your progress, and that's when your discipline must remind you to move silently until the time is right. This balance is not something you achieve once, it's something you practice daily. It's the constant dialogue between love, wisdom, and discipline, and the more you practice it, the more powerful you become. What makes this combination so rare is that the world often pushes us to extremes. It tells us to toughen up, to close our hearts, to stop caring. Or it tells us to be logical, rational, unemotional, forgetting that emotions are part of being human. Or it tells us to shout our every achievement, to prove ourselves constantly, to show off even when we're not ready. But when you resist those extremes, when you hold onto your heart, sharpen your mind, and discipline your moves, you become the kind of person who rises above the noise. You stop playing the game the way everyone else plays it, and you start creating your own rules. And here's the beautiful part. This combination doesn't just change you, it changes everyone around you. Your soft heart will touch lives in ways you may never see. Your sharp mind will inspire people to think differently, to make wiser choices. Your silent moves will remind others of the power of discipline and focus. Without even trying, you become an example of what balance looks like. People will look at you and wonder how you remain kind in a world that can be cruel, how you remain wise in a world that's often reckless, how you remain focused in a world that's constantly distracted. And the answer will be simple, because you've learned to combine all three. There will be times when you'll feel the tension of this balance. You'll feel torn between loving and protecting yourself, between speaking and staying silent, between giving and guarding. That's natural, that's part of growth. But every time you navigate that tension with grace, you get stronger. Every time you choose to love wisely, to think compassionately, to move silently, you become more unshakable. And eventually, this balance stops being something you practice. It becomes who you are, and when it becomes who you are, you no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You no longer need to explain your choices, to justify your boundaries, to announce your progress. You know who you are. You know what you bring. You know that your heart is soft enough to love, your mind is sharp enough to protect you, and your moves are silent enough to keep you grounded. That kind of self-awareness is rare. That kind of balance is powerful, and that kind of life is unbreakable. So when you think about who you want to become, don't aim to be just kind, or just smart, or just disciplined. Aim to be all three. Aim to have a heart that feels deeply, a mind that sees clearly, and a discipline that moves quietly. Aim to be the kind of person who loves without fear, who thinks without limits, who builds without noise. Because that person, that combination, is unstoppable, and if you can become that person, life will never be able to defeat you. You'll face heartbreak, but your mind will protect your heart from shattering. You'll face challenges, but your silence will keep you grounded while you work through them. You'll face setbacks, but your balance will turn them into lessons instead of losses. You won't just survive, you'll thrive. You won't just exist, you'll live with purpose. You won't just make moves, you'll make history in your own way, on your own terms. Soft heart, sharp mind, silent moves. Each one is powerful, but together they make you unstoppable. And that is the kind of strength that no one and nothing can take away from you. So remember this, don't ever apologize for having a soft heart. It's your gift. Don't ever stop sharpening your mind. It's your protection. And don't ever underestimate the power of moving in silence. It's your strategy. Soft heart, sharp mind, silent moves. That's not weakness. That's not luck. That's real strength. And it's the kind of strength that no one can take away from you.